Hey, Luke, should I perform an annual service on my laundromat?
Absolutely. And we're going to tell you why right now in this show. Welcome back to another episode of the Williford Brothers. We are your show hosts, Luke and
Lee Williford.
We're excited to be with you today here in our studio, and we're going to talk about something that's dear to my heart. It's not really a people thing, but actually more of an operational thing, but all operations affect people.
Yes.
In the laundromat business, this one is laundromat-centric, so we're going to be talking about an annual service. I've got our little annual service that I put together. And what is an annual service?
Yeah.
I can answer that. So every year, when you have multiple laundries, if you have one, you could do it monthly almost. But when you have the scale that we have, you have to really dive deep into the equipment as well as the facility, as well as just the whole cleanliness from parking lot all the way through to ceilings, to behind washers and dryers, to tightening bolts, to everything. If we do that annually, we've figured out that things never get too behind. Every laundry that we take it over, we find lint in the back of the dryers that is almost a decade old oftentimes. So this...
Just a decade?
Yeah. This keeps that from happening in our laundries. So... everything is touched in this annual service. Typically, it's, depending on how many guys I've got on that job or ladies, it's typically a 3 to 5 full business day service. Mm-hmm. And it includes servicing the washers and dryers. And I'm going to walk through this list a little bit, which may bore some of you, but it's extremely important to do these things.
Mm-hmm. I think that's the big thing. Of course, a why and purpose kind of person. So you talked about this is a little less people-centric, but in actuality it is, because our commitment is to deliver an excellent customer service to all of our customers. And so we have to have fully and well-functioning machines and systems and equipment, property that helps us to deliver that excellent customer experience. So that's why we take from the parking lot all the way through the doors, inside from the floor to the ceiling, and below the floors in drainage systems, water supply lines, gas supply lines, and then, of course, all of the nooks and crannies of washers and dryers to make sure our HVAC systems, to make sure that those systems are working and functioning well, because that plays big time into delivering an excellent customer experience for all of our customers. And if we are doing that at least annually, we can catch those major issues that could crop up. There are going to be issues that crop up if you own laundromats, you know that. But there are major issues that we can avoid, especially 1 year, 3 year, 5 years, because we're in this thing for the long term. We want to make sure we head those off by doing it annually. And our guys do such a fantastic job at it. They know the machines. We use the same brand machines, so they know that equipment like the back of their hands. So that helps out a lot also. HVAC systems, we call our contractors if we have any issues with those types of systems, or our landlords, to make sure that those are functioning properly. And at the end of the day, it's all about delivering that excellent customer experience and having those different systems and equipment, the property working, fully functional.
Absolutely. We have no down equipment. If we do have down equipment, it's always the part better be on the way. And we have a ticketing system that really helps. We can talk about how we get that out there. But this episode's on the annual service, and the annual service is basically a mandatory at each location to ensure the longevity and life of the equipment, and also to make sure we're keeping up store standards. So we have store standards when you go from 1 to 5 to 10 to 25 locations. Keeping those store standards is extremely important, not leaving behind the ones that are already running. While you're growing, keeping that same level of service and delivering that same excellent customer experience at all locations is extremely difficult.
Yeah, and it's taken us years to be able to hone in and craft exactly what that looks like. And so, again, part of why we do this is to save you the time and the money to have to figure that out. We know that your stores are not going to look exactly like ours. This is just to tell you the basics, the essentials of what we've learned over the years. That translates into your laundromats and also into your business. If you're an entrepreneur and you have some other type of business in another industry, I think you can still benefit from it because those things translate across lots of different businesses.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people have 1, 2, or 3 stores and they're not doing an annual service. So you're not going to do it when you get to 10. So we have to nail down our business model and we have to be good stewards of our one before we'll be given the opportunity to be trusted with more and more locations.
They become headaches and not blessings at that point.
Absolutely. You can create a monster, and your equipment that you financed that you want to last 20 years may only last 10 if you're not keeping it up to date. But tangibly, I'm a tangible guy. This includes with washers. It includes removing the lower panels, opening every dump valve, cleaning brawl wires. It includes checking the plumbing pipes for any drainage issues,
leaks, corrosion.
making sure that every washer is independently drains into a trough system rather than all piped together. And then it includes making sure that the line under the ground is snaked out. We have quite a few snakes. A snake is basically a drain auger. You can get it for $500 at your local Home Depot.
Yep, Home Depot, anywhere.
About 75 foot long, and they're I think 5/8 or maybe even smaller, the 1/2 inch one. And typically you don't need this big $3,000 auger that you might think you do.
Which 75 feet? What's a good length of an auger?
That's what they come in, 75 feet.
Yeah.
Rigid is the name of the company.
Yeah, that's Home Depot supply. Yeah, they work great.
Yeah,
and they're about the price of one call to a plumber.
Yeah, so if you are able to unclog one jam with that, you've paid for it.
You've returned,
Yeah, you've returned on that investment, and then all the others are just great. But to have that, to do, open the tops of all the washers, check for leaking hoses. Sometimes hoses will be
corroded
water valves. And we've got a list here that goes through all of that. Make note of any major repairs necessary, for instance, water line replacement or shutoff valve replacement. A lot of times we'll replace all the shutoff valves. If they're the old kind, we'll put the ball valves on them.
Yes,
on all the water valves. And that's something easy. Just cut the water off.
If you're opening a store, do quarter turn ball valves. They are beautiful.
Yep, they'll save you a lot. And put cutoffs for each bulkhead. That way you don't have to take the whole store down. So if we don't have these things as we're going along with the annual service, we try to get those done during that. And typically most annual services we don't close down.
Stay open.
But some we have had to close for a day max typically. We've started to tear out ceilings during some of our annual services and really we are very focused on keeping consistency.
Yes.
And I think that's what everybody watching needs to be, because need to know what your business is, what you're trying to do before you can do it 5, 10, 20 times.
Yes. And if it's a headache at 1 or 2 stores, it's going to be a complete nightmare at 5 to 10.
Yeah. Electrical, check all the wires, make sure all the panels are labeled for each machine. Show your store manager, laundry attendant, we call them store managers, but show them where the breakers are, have them neatly labeled in case they need to cut off a machine if a door gets
because they'll need to.
And then dryers, remove the lint panels, clean any stuck lint from the inside of the dryer. There's like above and beyond things. You can take the faces off. Some of the dryers need the bearings to be greased, so we'll do that. Make sure the drums aren't torn. If you hear anything scraping, anytime in your laundry, train your staff
preventive maintenance
to listen for anything scraping. A lot of times screws screws will get caught, and they start as a small problem, but then they end up tearing the cylinder in the drum, and then you have to replace the drum, and it could all been prevented if when we heard that first noise Lee makes so well, where our ears are trained to listen. Stop those clothes, take those clothes out, spin it, get a light in there, and find that screw or whatever is causing that scraping, and it can save you a lot in the long run.
Yes.
Remove the back panels, check all the belts, make sure no frayed belts during your annual service. Behind the dryers, our offices and behind the dryers, I take just as much pride in as inside the store, because I just, every successful laundromat I've ever been in, the back room is immaculate, the office is immaculate, and every zombie mat and failed laundromat, the back room is a disaster and the office is a disaster. Treat it like it's a real business.
Yep, that excellence in your store should translate into the little office that you have there.
Yep. Just look for loose wires. Spray your gas fittings. Make sure there's no gas leaks. You can clean the burners if they need cleaning on the gas. And then it's not only the washers and dryers; it's the whole facility. It's the tile floors. We start on the outside at the parking lot, and when this service is completed, we do an annual service report. So my guys actually go in. There's a type form, and it asks them a question about every aspect of the laundry.
Yeah. So back on the washers and dryers, every manufacturer issues some daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually guidance on what you should be doing. And so definitely use those as a reference so that you know exactly what you should be doing on your washers, on your dryers. Go through that. And some things, you don't have to be as consistent on. Other things you cannot let slide. So make sure that for your stores and your manufacturer recommendations that you've got a good list of what you need to be doing annually, especially on an annual service.
For sure. And when you're under there, when you take off those panels, check your bolts, make sure all the washers and dryers are typically, unless they're soft mount, they are hard mounted to concrete. Make sure all of those, no bolts have broken off, because that can happen, especially with the 200G machines a lot of people are putting in now. Make sure those are tightened, because you don't want to get the call that the whole building's shaking, and that's what will happen if a anchor or bolt breaks off and the machine becomes loose. Touch-up paint. So we have 3 colors. We have a blue, a light blue, and then we have a black and a white. And that paint is at every store. The black is for the base frames. It's the old base paint. We have paintbrush and rollers in every store. And during these annual services, we make sure the trim's touched up in white, and any blue walls are touched up. Very simple to do. I always say, I remember Lee and I painting all the stores. So you say, well, I've got nobody to do the painting. You can paint. Anyone can paint. It's gratifying because it's instant.
You see it. Yeah, you see it instantly.
It's instant
after you do it.
The parking lot lines, just small things that you can do. And as we always say, go in and use your laundry during this and figure out from a customer's vantage point, maybe I should do this.
What your weak spots are. That's right.
Yeah. During this, we also hit the roofs and check out the roof and the HVAC and all of those things. The exterior and the interior, which says floors here, but anything that needs tile get cracked. They're gonna get cracked. Keep some extra tile in the back and install new tile. Just take the whole tile out, put in a new piece. It's very simple. But having missing tile is just an indication of I really don't care. And once you have one missing tile or one cracked tile, it's not going to fix itself. You have to fix it. If not, what it's going to do, it's going to multiply. There's going to be more cracked tile, and it just slowly becomes, and customers see that.
Yeah. And replace your floors. I mean, if your floors look bad, if you can't get them clean, if they're old, replace them. Save up money and replace your floors. It will change the look of your laundromat. Not only the look, but also the feel that your customers will have when they come into your laundromat. And that's important.
Yes. Remove any junk machines, anything that's not being used that's in the back. Lee and I, people think we have a 50,000 square foot warehouse full of junk machines, but in actuality, we have no washer or dryer that we own that is not in operation today.
That's
we
right.
liquidate every piece. We don't have any sitting around. No used
not one
equipment.
junk collecting dust
Not
anywhere.
one piece. We strip it of parts and take it to the scrap if it's that old, but we don't have any junk. And I think that's the mindset you have to get if you want to scale.
And old equipment doesn't have to be junk. If you have older equipment in your laundromat working beautifully, that's a blessing. That's incredible. That's an asset, yes, that you can use to generate revenue. So don't equate old equipment with junk. You could have new stuff that's just sitting around collecting dust, because that happens too.
Yes.
Completely new, unused, and it's just sitting in the corner of your laundromat for a year, 3 years, and just go ahead and get rid of it.
Yes.
Your customers are sitting there thinking, why do they still have this thing in here? What does that say about you? Go ahead and get it done.
Yeah, I've been in the stores and found on pallet shrink wrapped, and the laundry attendant will tell me at some of these stores that machine's been sitting there 4 years. We want to get it installed. It's like, what is going on here?
Yep.
And I think we're the opposite of hoarders, though.
Yes.
We are
Definitely.
If you watch the show Hoarders or any, we want to have none of that is not adding value to our customers' experience.
We did a quick story. We did a laundry tour this week with a couple folks, and we went into one of our newer stores, and there's been a lag on getting our vending machine. We order the same vending machines, be very consistent. And so Luke found one, and we put our payment system on it. It works beautifully. Well, that vending machine finally showed up. So it is in that store wrapped up, and we walked in the other day, and my heart kind of like fluttered a little bit, like, okay, where are we going to put this thing? We need to get it somewhere in a store.
It's got to go.
Yes.
We bought some real estate recently, so we have a lot of vacant space.
We've
actually,
got some place we can
that
put
we're
it.
hoping to fill up.
Yes.
But that's another story. Laundry carts. Take care of your laundry cart. Replace the wheels. Clean the wheels. Clothes that have been left in the back. Date those, and after a month, get rid of those things.
R&B Cart sells their fantastic wheels by the box. Order as many as you need and replace your wheels. It feels just like a new cart. Your employees, your customers, everybody may think you got new carts because the baskets hold up for a long time. And replace the wheels.
And somebody watching has an out of order bathroom. Please fix your bathroom. You're never going to scale your laundromat business if you say, well, I'll just put an out of order sign and only I'll use it. Mm-hmm. Or if they have two, they'll put one out of order or one as staff only. And that is my ultimate pet peeve. Make sure your restrooms are functioning well. Do the best you can to make sure everybody in the town's not using them. There's no perfect way. You can put, customer only on it, but there's no perfect way to completely eliminate that. But the bottom line is you don't want a customer in your store spending $5 to $50 with you and they can't use the restroom.
Yes.
So that's the trade-off, and that customer will find somewhere else to go. They'll come to the Wash House there in North Carolina because our restrooms are going to be working, and if they're not, and we find out often when they're not, and we find out swiftly, and we try to get those fixed. And it costs money, but the return on that, I think, is
because it's an inconvenience to our customers. And again, it's all about delivering that excellent customer experience for our customers because that's extremely important. Yeah, I think a lot of what we talked about is internal. There may be, some partnerships you have to create with your landlord, with an HVAC supply company, with a plumber, an electrician. Those relationships in this industry are vital because we have so many moving parts. Your distributor may be able to connect you with somebody. They may be a good service provider. They may not be. So make sure that you have a very good Rolodex of who you call when you have an emergency and be their good customer. You want them to service your laundromat well. We'll be their good customer. Be on good terms with them and check in every now and then how their business is doing because at the end of the day, they're going to take your call over, Karen's call.
Yeah, definitely
when she's calling.
Don't be a Karen.
Yeah,
you don't like Karens.
Don't be a Karen. Yes.
But I think your annual service is just so important. And it could be monthly, man. Overdo it until you have enough locations, but really dive into it so those things don't build up. And the last thing that we have is for our guys to complete the type form. It will automatically come to us. So our guys, when they go in, they complete, and I've got it pulled up on my phone now, is our annual service report. So this report comes to me. It gives me the date of all the washers and dryers in the store, the date of the HVAC, the date of the hot water heater. So when that comes in, I can check it out. It also lets me know if they think we need to replace something, or if something's down, if they can make requests for a new parking lot and stuff like that. Of course, we'll handle approving anything that's over $1,000 typically. But this asks the location, who this was performed by, the date. And I give you this, just you can create your own. We use Typeform, but this is real valuable stuff. You ask, and we want to
laminate an Excel sheet that you come up with, something.
And it starts facilities, exterior, landscape condition, and it gives a short answer: parking lot, lighting and signage, paint, and the building siding and gutters, the roof, the facility's interior. Ask just a whole lot of questions. The number and condition of laundry carts. The goal for us is one per dryer. Because typically we do stack dryers. So if we've got 14 dryers and 28 pockets, we want 14 carts in there. In some stores, depending on the square footage, that can be quite a few. But all of those things we're checking to make sure, and that helps us know, hey, we've only got 8 carts. Well, we need to order some carts for that location.
Because on Sundays, you're going to run out of carts really fast.
Yeah. And, go in your store. Having carts readily available is extremely important. And go on Sunday, because that's when you find out. Because our stores, they'll be busy during sometimes, really slow during others. And instead of trying to drive people to the free wash Wednesday, we don't like that. That's not our gig. A lot of y'all say, but my free wash Wednesday.
It makes economic sense, and from an economics person, it's just silly.
Yeah, we'll drive traffic during the middle of the week by giving these promotions.
Yes,
I don't
by
like
earning less revenue. Yeah,
and it devalues your service because you're giving the same service on Sunday, but on Wednesday that washer's 99 cents. How come on Sunday it's $3.50? Oh, because that's a busy time. We'll just build a bigger store.
Or another store.
Store.
Yeah, most of the time, the arc of busyness looks like Sunday through Wednesday, Thursday, and then Saturday. So you've got this nice, looks like a skate pipe. You know?
And in the stores, in our laundry attendants, store managers, we call them, is on Tuesday, Wednesdays, Thursdays are what we call deep clean days, because we do a little more deeper cleaning because they're having to assist less customers. On Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, we do more turns per day. We're busier. We're seeing a lot more customers. So the detailed deep cleaning is not done on those days typically.
You're not mopping the floors at noon on Sunday.
Yes, that can't happen.
So if you come in and your employee's doing that, your staff, just let them know.
Number of seats. There's just a whole lot of questions. Number of seats in the store. We like 1 per dryer. Paint. The condition of the paint, blue, black, and if you painted, because they'll paint during these. Are all the panels labeled properly and sub-panels labeled properly? Are the machines numbered properly? The condition of the floor. Do we need new floors? Lighting, office organization, fire extinguishers. Are they up to date in service? The washer bulkhead condition, ceiling tiles, if there are ceiling tiles or if it's the open ceiling, gas connection and gas lines. Those have been checked. Age and condition of the water heater. Dryer vent connections. Those get loose. That's how a lot of lint gets back there. If those get loose, then it's just going to feed lint. If your dryer screens on your dryers, if they're torn, that's going to get a lot more stuff. Replace those screens. It's so easy to replace. Age of the HVAC, tonnage of the HVAC, the year model of the washers. If we need additional large capacity washers, and which kind. So I'm just going through the actual report. So they fill out all of these. Are the washers in a drain trough? If not, or are they hard piped? If they're in hard piped, I know I need to order some trough, or at least measure to see, when my guys, they know if it's hard piped, to also send measurements in if they can be in a trough, because they know how important it is. They're the ones running the snake, so they know that troughs work. Yeah. We catch that stuff above ground. Our staff clean out the lint trap every day. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you run across, I mean, if that is you as the store owner, if you're doing the same thing, dealing with the same problems, I don't know, 2-3 times a month, stop and spend an hour on, okay, how can I prevent this from happening? Because most people wouldn't think, oh, well, I can measure for troughs and see if troughs would fit in here and convert all of my washers into a trough drainage system, which dumps everything into a trough. You have a filter, which creates, at least prevents larger things from getting in your drain line, backing them up down the drain line. So, stop and think, okay, how do I fix the root cause of this problem? And drain troughs are a great solution.
Yes. Yeah, are the electric lines safe and secure? No extension cords. I find extension cords running TVs that are 100 feet long. And I've done it because it's simple and easy. But it's going to catch up with you. When the fire inspector comes, he's going to have to change that. So as we're doing these annual surveys, we go ahead and nip that in the butt and run the proper outlets to the televisions. But we've done it all, so we're not saying. So we learn from all these mistakes. Water supply line condition, vibration or loose anchor bolts. Ask the attendant if any machines are shaking, because they will tell you. They're there all the time.
Yes. One thing I was thinking about is if you have one store or multiple stores, read through your lease and know what the tenant responsibilities are and what your landlord responsibilities are. And if there is an issue that your landlord will not correct that directly impacts your customers that you can afford to fix, do it. Don't not do something simply out of obstinance because your landlord technically has the responsibility to it. You have the resources to fix it. Go ahead and just spend the money. Your customers will be happy. They'll spend more money with you. You'll grow more customers, and you'll be all the better for it. But just know what your responsibilities are, what the landlord's responsibilities are, and if there's something you can do that they are neglecting to do, go ahead and do it. And save your receipt because, you might be able to get a reimbursement for it.
Yes. I think our industry has been historically known for pinching pennies and losing dollars. Yeah. I think that's where it has actually, in large part, created our ability to scale swiftly, is because our other people are not doing that. They're wanting to save, and they basically don't realize that the market is more than the market is. But that's another episode. Yeah. But the dryers, make sure all of your screws, panel screws, I go into stores and the tops, the screws are missing. It's a different type of screw. These screws are cheap. Order them by the hundreds. Your duct work, is it individually? Your ventilation piping, make sure you have your makeup air, 1.5 feet of makeup air per dryer. Typically, somebody watching probably doesn't have makeup air for their dryers. That's why your dryers don't function properly.
We've gone in behind
many times.
There's none.
And temp sensors are in place. Computer boards, make sure you use air and clean those out. It's
compressed air is a great thing.
Yeah, keeping those things on you, and
and your payment system too. If your coin, make sure all your coin drops are nice and clean. That's where those compressed air really helps out. And if you have a payment system, use alcohol to clean sensors, or make sure readers are nice and tight to the machine to make sure there's no vibration, nothing loose. Those are important things too.
Yeah, and I think you guys listening, just do something. It's kind of like marketing. Go ahead and get something in place that you do on a regular basis, whether it be monthly, annually. For us, it's annually because we have quite a few stores, and I was doing these at first alone a lot of times with a helper, and now our guys typically do it. 2 regional managers and the store manager are there on site at the same time, which makes it a little easier. But at the end, we kind of ask any requests for this location, and you can even fill this out for yourself. You can request it from your company, basically. Anything additionally, how do you feel the store manager is doing there? Are they doing a good job? just what type of sense do you get when being in the store for 4 or 5 days?
Yep.
What feedback are you getting from customers? And then I asked them to provide a brief summary of what was all completed. And then at the end, I leave a quote, which is one of my favorites. The greatest gap in the world is between knowing and doing. We must always commit to filling that gap. So we better serve our customers.
Yes, with excellence.
Yes.
That's good.
So do an annual service. Make it consistent. Go above and beyond. Take pride in your business. Even if you're a restaurant owner and you're listening to this, or any business, every year clean out. It's like a spring cleaning, basically. In your home, do it. My wife does it like once a week, but in your home, do it. Reset.
We talk a lot about people's strengths and system weaknesses. So in this, what you're doing is you're finding your system weaknesses and you're making sure that they are up to standard. And that's important. That works across every business because every business contains systems and people. So make sure those systems, you're finding their weaknesses, you're improving them and fixing root problems, not just putting Band-Aids on gaping wounds. And that will help not only your customers, but it will also turn into additional profitability, which is important.
And your staff, even if you've got one staff member, they see you do this and take this serious, they're going to take their job more serious. Your customers are going to realize that you're taking it more serious. They're going to share that with other customers, and you're just going to grow. It's never the wrong thing to do the right thing, and your equipment's going to last longer. And if you sell later in life, or if you continue this business, you're going to have to replace your equipment a lot less often, which is very important for us because the last thing we want to do is have to replace our equipment every 8 years because that would be a never-ending process. This was great. I hope you got something out of it.
Lots of practical stuff. Watch it twice, take some notes.
Yeah, we have really tried to give you stuff that you've asked for, and we hope this answers a lot of questions. There's a lot of people out there doing this, franchises and different things, but we've done it a lot. This is all free. Share it with someone.
We're not going to charge you 7%.
No, we are not going to charge you for that, but reach out to us, and we'd love to hear more from you or how this helped you. And like, share, follow, do all the things. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and all the YouTube podcast. If you're listening to this, thank you for listening.
Share with a friend.
Yes. All right, man. Have an awesome day. Thank you, guys.